Welcome to Oddball History, dipshits.
A boom, 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 boom.
How?
Every episode.
That's right. We love you, NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah.
And whoever that blues man is that sings that song.
A salty old blues man. So we are back with Oddball History. We have a very special guest today. You can see by his shirt and his hat, we have a JFK expert. He's the founder of Project Mist, which stands for Man of Integrity in Search of Truth. He's also, his second title is former Davidian, now independent amateur truth seeker. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Clint Frizzell.
Hell
Pleasure
yeah.
to be here.
Woo!
Also
Welcome,
high school buddy and groomsman.
Hell yeah.
5-time letterman.
That's
5 positions.
That Clint did have the funniest letter jacket of all time because we played high school football together. And Clint, you weren't great
harsh.
at any of the five.
Did you hear about Jimmy's interception to touchdown ratio?
I have not heard Jimmy's interception to touchdown ratio, and driving up here, I was hoping I would.
Yeah, it's 1-1. I was maybe the greatest backup quarterback Texas high school football has ever seen.
You know what that says to me, though, is you're not afraid to sling it.
I'm not afraid to throw it deep.
You're not
Yeah.
I appreciate that in a quarterback.
No, Clint played 5 positions and got all of them put onto his letter jacket.
Hell yeah.
So it was like left tackle, tight end, deep snapper,
I appreciate
D
that.
end. It was a funny
I
jacket.
played a lot of positions in my year of high school football, but it was very small private school, so I wasn't very proud of it, to be totally honest. And I wasn't very good,
I was trying to get Scott in the game.
I played baseball, and it felt wrong to me to be able to run wherever you wanted. I need lines.
I need routes,
I need
10 and
lines
out.
to tell me exactly where I'm
Yeah,
going
I get
next.
it. I get it.
Without those, it's fucking chaos.
But so Clint is an expert on the JFK assassination and subsequent conspiracy theories.
Yeah, the many theories that surround the assassination.
Which we did an episode on Jack Ruby and Benny Binion, which had some
Very
crossover
fun.
to it.
Yeah, good old seedy Dallas
Yeah.
history.
Clint was upset with some of the discrepancies we had in those episodes, so he's here to set the record straight. Is there any place you want to start?
No.
Yeah, we can start wherever. I do not remember the episode.
Y'all changed a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
My first hit notes was y'all's Jack Ruby episode was about Lyft, St. Patrick's Day, and Graceland. Any of that ring a bell?
Oh, yeah. Wait, no.
Did you drive Lyft at the time?
No, Lawrence did.
Lawrence,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Our former member.
yeah. Our dear departed Lawrence.
Rest in peace.
to him as well.
No, he's fine. He's doing
He's
good.
not dead. He's not dead.
Watch the special.
Check out his special Trina on YouTube.
Y'all were talking about the Oscars just happened. That's when I realized how y'all been doing this for a full
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
I
Clint was
couldn't believe it.
laughing. He was like, I thought it was like 2 months ago we talked about Jack Ruby, and he went back and
Yeah.
was like, oh, no.
It was
So we get to relive Will Smith and Chris Rock the
You saw
moment.
that? You see
I
that?
saw the
Okay.
note. Yeah.
You see that? Yeah. And then how was Graceland, man? It seems you just got
Graceland.
back.
Oh, yeah.
Graceland was a magical journey. It was shockingly expensive for what
Yeah.
it was.
Okay.
I remember we went there.
I could
and
see that.
we were in Memphis for the previous solar eclipse.
Ooh.
Yeah,
nice.
so we've seen 2 now.
So were you acting like a big shot during this one? You're like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
like,
I can already
they're
see
like, it's not going to happen again for 200 years. You're like, well, like specifically here.
I don't need glasses.
These happen all the time. Yeah, it'll get dark enough. I know.
it." Yeah.
But I remember we were going to Graceland. We're not huge Elvis fans or anything. We were just going kind of, it was funny to
Don't
me.
let them hear you say that. They'll beat the shit
He
out of
made
you
his
on the
point
spot.
proven in the Jack Ruby episode.
But so we went there and it was like $80 per person to get in, just to walk the
Yikes.
grounds. And I remember we went all the way there. It was like our last day in Memphis, and like seeing the price and having that moment of just like,
Just for fun, did you ask
all right,
how much to die on the toilet?
So I
That's
believe
free.
that was your question last time.
It was.
Okay.
I hope it was.
I wasn't. I re-listened. Okay. That's
if
the reason I
so,
did
we
this.
gotta cut it and put it right
No,
here. Me
no.
saying the exact
still
words.
funny.
That was perfect. You go. Last time you go.
We're supposed to recycle everything else. But
Everyone gets mad at me when I do the same joke.
You asked Jimmy, were you able to see the toilet he died on?
Oh, okay, a little different.
Okay. And so the reason I made a note of it is I wanted to ask Jimmy, how do you go to Graceland and know so little about Graceland to the normal person? You said...
Oh, I remember nothing.
Your response to
it was a house.
Your response to that question was, no, you couldn't go upstairs because one of his family members still live up there, and both of y'all bought it without asking any questions.
There is a family area upstairs you are not allowed to go to.
I'm so happy we're revisiting this. I don't remember this at all. Okay. Yeah, no. Okay, I appreciate the added scrutiny. Yeah. No, I had no follow-up questions.
It's going to be a Attack Jimmy episode, I see.
No, I like it.
It was funny how long ago it was, so I thought it'd be fun to resurface, right?
Yeah.
So you
can't go upstairs because people live there.
That's super funny.
Or someone has
Stop.
Okay.
You asked him,
look it up.
Were you able to see the toilet he died on? And Jimmy goes, no, because one of his family members live up there, and y'all are both like, makes sense. Who do you think of the Presley family lives up there?
I'm imagining.
Are you arguing with me that the upstairs?
I know the reason.
Off the bat,
I've never been to Graceland.
I'm imagining shameful, distant cousins. That they keep
That's where I was going to go with this.
Kind of like yeah.
It's not a direct relative. It's like it's technically in my name.
They'd rather have them up there than out,
protecting the secrets
the name
of the toilet
further.
No, it's Lisa Marie Presley.
She lives up there?
No. She is the son of the king of rock and roll.
She was the one that married.
Pop.
Yeah, I remember that
Michael
from when I was a kid.
Okay.
And they kissed. Need to live up there.
They kissed, and they were like, "Satisfied America."
I'm not a pedophile.
Like, that doesn't. We're not.
Yeah,
we're not buying it, you guys. We're sorry.
You
we're
kissed
not.
that lady like a child's butthole.
It was a weird time. But yeah, Lisa Marie Presley. That's my memory of Lisa Marie.
So is that technically a family member?
It's more of a...
And is the upstairs locked off because of her? What did I say that was inaccurate?
It's more of an homage.
Okay.
He wanted it to remain for her because that's where they would get away from people.
I see.
I just find it funny that you were staring up the stairs at Graceland like, his family's,
up there?
Somebody still lives in there. I wonder what hours they're allowed to come out.
There's like a giant plaque that explains exactly why it's left.
Yeah, and then I fed him exactly what you just said. Like somebody showed up in the estate.
You can put $1 in and it gives you Ritz crackers, and it's like it's Steve upstairs' favorite. Feel free to give him Ritz crackers. He's a nice guy.
I love that.
Some guy read through the will of Elvis. Like, technically, I can't live on this estate. I'll only take one room. I won't bother the tours.
I would watch that documentary. The man squatting at Graceland. I would watch the hell out of that. I bet Vice would do it.
Oh yeah,
Viceland.
Old Vice would have.
Old Vice before they blew their budget on. They made a bunch of the best shows, and then they were just gone. I loved so many of them.
But all their good shit was cheap and weird.
Yeah.
Where they just went like, here's a chick in Brazil with a big butt.
Here's Colombia. A skater who is going to go around abandoned places and talk about them and then skate some. That was my favorite. It was called Abandoned, and it had the greatest soundtrack maybe of all time. If you like indie rock, it was pretty dynamite.
I'll take it.
This guy skating around abandoned schools in Detroit. This was very fun.
Well, Shane Smith.
His name
Rest
was
in peace. I don't know.
His name was Rick McCrank. Dude, how fun is that?
That sounds like a Bart Simpson phone call.
It really does.
Is Rick McCrank there?
Yeah. Poor Mo. Never has any idea what's coming.
Never does.
I saw a thing about on behind the Tales from the Territories. Speaking of Viceland, their wrestling show that was about the Memphis territory, and in it they talked about Andy Kaufman when he was there, and that he like idolized Elvis.
Yeah.
And so Jimmy the Mouth of the South Heart, who you might remember if you're a WWF fan, he was a bad guy manager. He managed like Earthquake and like all the bad guys. Really good bad guy manager. But he was kind of like his like assistant, Andy Kaufman, when he was in Memphis. And he said a bunch of nights he would want to go to Graceland, and he would just drive Andy Kaufman to Graceland, and he would sit and like meditate or hang out at the gate, like at the front gate, like in rain or shine. Sometimes he would just be sitting out there in the rain in front of Graceland. I don't know if I'm the first person to ever say this, but that Andy Kaufman was a weird guy. He's a weird fella.
You already know more about Graceland than Jimmy. So.
Odd duck. That's true. Why didn't you ask about Andy Kaufman?
You can save the money on this.
There. There's what do they call those courts? racquetball court. You can't go upstairs because the family member that lives there.
Well, you also just shit on the guy's house. The dead
It
man's
wasn't.
house. You weren't invited either.
No,
You
I
just-
think that was just a
house
sign of
sucked.
the times where it was a nice home and on a beautiful piece of property,
Yeah.
but it was like the rooms weren't that big. It was just
Would it
they
been
were
have-
weird. There was like the jungle room, which like
Would it have been cool if you had like free reign of it though?
Yes.
To like hang out.
oh yeah.
See, when I see pictures of it, I love that house.
Yeah.
If I was rich, that's what.
Yeah,
I
it
would.
looks sweet. It just looks like if you're walking around behind like ropes, it would only be so fun.
Yeah.
But because you can't play.
Well, that's your
the
exact.
game, that's
that's your exact
bowling.
feeling walking around it. You go like,
I wish I could do
looks pretty
drugs
neat.
here.
All right, I guess we'll mosey on into the next room.
They have a big buck hunter machine, and you're like, that's not even from when Elvis was alive. And they're like, shut up.
He invented it. This is the first big buck hunter machine.
Still not allowed to play it.
Wait until you go to the racquetball court. There's golden tee.
They have pickleball.
Oh yeah, before
The newest of the racket sports.
it was still cucumber ball back then.
Ayo.
Takes time. Takes time. All right. All right, Clint, you got to get into the JFK assassination and what you believe about it. Why don't you believe the story we are told?
I thought you were going to give me more navigation here.
Okay.
We can.
Yeah.
We can figure it out.
Because I'll keep going.
So
I'll go with it. I'm
so
good.
JFK was shot. Clearly, it was one man,
No,
Oswald. Obviously,
acted alone.
the government wouldn't
No
lie
one
to
has
us.
ever questioned this.
Only 3 shots, only 3 shell casings found in the,
the Warren
observatory.
Commission.
To my
Everybody
friends
loved
that I
them.
told I was doing this and said, Jimmy is setting up an ambush for you. You were right. You were
What
right.
ambush have I set up?
No, of course, there's so many, there's such controversy around the JFK assassination. We all know growing up in Dallas, we've all been to the museum. I haven't actually been inside the museum.
I haven't either, actually.
But I went
I really
close
haven't.
on. I do a bit about it, so I don't want to get into it too much. But I've never actually been inside. I got as far as the door, and then
You know what's strange? I've been to the
hung out out
monument.
there.
I've been inside the Red Brick Museum twice.
Me too. That's free.
It's a good one. It is free. That's probably the reason.
It's not really part of history, but kinda, It was standing right there when JFK was assassinated.
Yeah.
And it's free.
And it's made of red brick.
So I'm close to history, and I got $18 still in my
The
pocket.
only fun facts I got from it were like Oak Cliff was its own town. They had debate over what was going to be downtown.
Oh,
They
yeah.
picked Dallas for the courthourse. And then
I remembered.
It is.
I remember in the. I read a book called "The Diaper Days of Dallas" by an old owner or editor of the Dallas Morning News, Ted Dealey. Oh, of Dealey Plaza.
There
That's
we
his
go.
family.
Yeah.
But he wrote a book about remembering Dallas at the turn of the century in 1900, and that was one of his big things was that. Dallas and Oak Cliff were different, and like if a Dallas guy went to pick up an Oak Cliff girl for a date, the Oak Cliff boys would pelt him with rocks.
oh,
Yeah. In 1900, everyone was being pelted with rocks, I feel like, for all number of reasons
Yeah.
at any time. But yeah, I thought that was funny. It was a solid rivalry.
I
there
like it,
between-
yeah.
It was a fun book. If you ever get a chance to check it out, if you're a local listener, it's dynamite. Also talks about how the schoolmasters of the schools around used to just beat the shit out of the kids.
Yeah.
Like Ted Dealey talked
Yeah.
about the headmaster of his school. His thing was he would call you up to the blackboard and then like punch you in the head to the point that your head was bouncing off the blackboard. And he was like, and that's why I'm a good man today. Like that. It's like,
I
a
wonder
good
why-
company man.
Why are we not supposed to say master anymore? I wonder why.
there was another one there.
The primary bedroom.
There was another one that would stand on the school steps as the children were playing, and then if any of them got too close, he would lash at them with a bullwhip, which it didn't say. It was like, or any of it for good reason. It was just that they got close to him.
Just let them know I mean business.
You were just supposed to be a menace if you were an educator in 1900. You were mostly just supposed to terrify children, I think. That was
be the best bully at school.
that was most of it. But anyway, yeah, the Dealey Plaza.
Dealey Plaza.
That's where we are for the old JFK assassination. One
I
of the
have
most
always-
shameful things that's ever happened in Dallas, aside from Real Housewives of Dallas. And Yeah, it's true. It was a dark day. They did put a giant X on the street, of course, so we would
Classy.
never
They tried to get rid of it.
forget when the dark day.
The city
where
got rid of it.
exactly it happened.
Repeatedly.
How
and
did they put that X down?
people keep putting the X
even-
down.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a city deal.
Okay.
The city's not like, this is where JFK got shot right here, everybody.
It actually has not. It's they're big D-Generation X fans. And they're big wrestling fans.
Yeah.
They just want us to remember.
It all comes back together.
Well,
The
I've wondered
early
how it lasts
2000s.
longer than the street lines. People keep putting it down.
Yeah,
It makes
it's
a lot
like,
of sense.
it's not like an official city landmark. It's
Who keeps putting it down? Who's invested? That's so
Hey,
weird.
people lined up out there for
no. Have you ever like? I don't know. There's
John
all the,
John who came back.
Accuracy.
all the crazy guys on
That's
the
true.
corner trying to give tours out and
Yeah.
stuff. And
Best way to see it.
pick the craziest guy on the street.
I love one of those guys. I did a thing called Comedy in Public with this dude from Brooklyn. He did a couple. He was in DFW, and I did one at Dealey Plaza where you just are carrying a little amp and you just kind of ambush people with stand-up comedy. You just start doing
That sounds
stand-up.
like a nightmare.
It was one of those that I was driving to, like, I hate everything about, like, I fucking out of my body. I hate this so much. But I was like, I'll do, it's like early comedy. You're just like, I'll do anything.
I'll say yes.
No matter. But so I did it. It was fine. But there was like a school group at one of the those little displays outside for the conspiracy guys. If you don't know, at Dealey Plaza, they're all set up on. They have little kiosks outside with their evidence that they want to show you and stuff. But so there was a little school group there, and when I started my stand-up, the whole school group, all these teen girls, bolted, like they were out of there. But the guy who was running it, who could have been mad at me for just scattering his entire audience, he like pulled up a chair and listened to my whole bullshit set. So ever since then, I've been like open to conspiracies when it comes to jail.
I just want to be on a team. It's all. It feels nice.
Well,
Yeah, I'm just on whoever treats my comedy nicest side. That's what it comes down to.
I have an on-off button when I come to the conspiracy. So I told myself when you asked me to come on, to keep it off until you put me on. But to get it started,
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I was going to approach it from a different angle. But anyway, with what you're saying, the best way, in my opinion, if you don't see the sixth floor, which can be very boring to be honest, but those guys down there, and I was trying to think of like how I became obsessed with it. But when you go down there and these people are begging for money essentially, and they're like, and some of them do have good points, crazy pictures, stuff like that. My favorite's when a guy's like, hey, you got $1 bill on you? And you pull out $1 bill and he's like, all right, face this way right here. Does this not perfectly match the $1 bill? You see like this shape and this shape, crazy, right? I'm like, yeah, actually it's starting to make sense. He's like, you think that's crazy? You got a 5 on you? I'm like, yeah, I do. And then it just like, he keeps going. He's like, come over here, man. And he brings you to the storm drain, everything. And there's a quarter dug down in this storm drain or something. He's like,
Yeah.
watch, you have a 50-cent nickel on you. It fits perfectly right in here. And you're just like, and I go for every bit. But it is a cool way to experience it.
Hell yeah.
Anyway,
I appreciate those guys, It would not be it would be so lame if they weren't there, frankly.
Yeah.
you're doing
You
a
know?
podcast about it 60 plus years later.
Yeah.
So
Here's a funny Dallas thing I saw once. I was driving through downtown and I drove by. There's the sixth floor museum, but then there's also the monument, like the memorial. That's like a big. It's like four
walls that are
kind
open.
of. I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's a very modern, arty kind of installation.
you had
but
a
I
$100
drove
bill
by.
on you to see that.
Pull out $100 bill. Let me show you something crazy, kid.
I was broken down.
So great, so wild. No, it was actually based on the deed to my house. He had this whole other thing. No, I drove by there, and it was it's just tourists, but there were two people on scooters just doing circles right in front. It was so the wrong vibe, but it
Yeah.
looked so pleasant.
What a beautiful day out.
Yeah.
My dad always had the joke of we drive through downtown, and when we were
I
kids,
remember this.
yeah,
I know what you're gonna say.
he would always try to scare us, and we'd be driving through downtown, and he'd go boom, boom, and then we'd drive under the
Classic
bridge.
Jimmy's dad.
And he'd lean over and go, "That's where JFK got shot."
Classic Mr.
dad.
Nelson.
I remember
Classic.
you telling this story in front of Kyle Kirkpatrick and him saying his dad is the same thing, which makes too much sense. His dad and your dad.
Yeah,
The sense of humor. But back to what I made notes of, like
Yes.
the Jack Ruby thing. and Scott, I won't do this to you the whole time. I think it was you who said you highly disagree, or you agreed with that Jack Ruby went there just on his own accord to be a hero because he made the wire transfer, and that made perfect sense that he would do there to timestamp it, and then 3 minutes later, that was your words.
I do not remember this, but I believe you.
Well, they said in his pocket he had the banknote from doing the wire transfer like minutes before.
Oh, yeah, to his dancer. That's right. Yeah, okay.
Starting the conversation.
That sounds right.
Trying to start the conversation. And that's usually where people, obviously, JFK was already dead, but that's where a lot of people, when you say conspiracy, blah, 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 want to start to rebuttal on in a backwards way, meaning, oh, do you believe in a conspiracy? Oh, let me guess. The first thing you're going to say is, how was Jack Ruby there? I've already got an answer for that. He was best friends with the Dallas Police Department. So that's usually, because I do love the topic, I try not to bore people with it, time and place. Thanks again for having me. But to my point, so you've got a strip club owner, Jack Ruby.
Yep.
Who is
Good
friends.
guy.
Yeah. Who is friends
Real
with
character.
the Dallas Police Department. Right? So JFK is assassinated the day before.
Yeah.
So now we're, what are we doing? We're moving Lee Harvey Oswald from jailhouse to jailhouse. Transporting, excuse me. I went blank. First time on camera.
You're doing great.
Thanks. And so Jack Ruby walks in, knows a Dallas police officer. So you're this Dallas police officer, right? And you know better than anybody.
Hey, Jackie boy.
The boys in blue are cowards, right?
They're like, oh, these...
Right? You're always
Jimmy, you're
talking about it.
You're on record.
You're anti-cop,
I
right?
believe there's a healthy rivalry between the fire and the police, but I respect them as a profession.
You said in the annual Dallas Fire Department versus Dallas Police Department
We do
ice hockey game, you whoop every one of their ass.
We
You've never
always
seen somebody take a punch like a bigger bitch
Yeah.
than Dallas Police.
We
They're all
always
bitches.
win the guns and hoses, and I think that means something.
He said
you know?
if we were transporting Lee Harvey Oswald, he'd still be in prison.
Yeah, exactly.
If us firefighter, he said this off
If
camera.
he was in an ambulance and not a police car, we would have got him there.
So Jack Ruby's walking in because that's again the biggest thing. They all knew Jack. They let him down there. So
They love his titty bar.
right.
They liked how he would throw guys down the stairs. They thought it was funny.
He would
No, I
do
don't know
that.
about that part. But they probably did like his titty bar.
Oh yeah.
Point is, he knows all the cops. He's walking in.
They were all there. They're walking in. I'm leading to when Lee Harvey Oswald, the guy who was pinned for killing JFK.
So
was
you've
shot.
worded that in a way
Right.
that he was not the
Bear
killer.
with me.
Okay.
So
okay.
you're a cop, a Dallas police officer,
Yeah.
guarding the
A coward.
guarding the parking garage to the Dallas Police Department.
A guy that sucks at baseball and hockey.
But because you drank in, possibly gotten a lap dance from not this guy, but from at this guy's bar.
Yeah.
This guy's walking in and you wouldn't say, "Hey Jack, yesterday me and the boys had one job. Kind of a big one.
Yep.
And we settled a little under expectations." And
we goofed. All right?
Today,
We had a big goof. The president's dead.
I don't know if you watched the news or seen the news, but heard the news.
Big to do about town.
His brains are scattered on Dallas' streets right
Yep.
now. And we have another big job today. All we have to do now is get the guy who apparently killed him and just get him safely out of here.
Yeah.
Maybe, Jack, today's not the day for you to be here. So they willingly let him down anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Not to think, maybe this is the time and place. So that's my first rebuttal to that.
Okay.
Secondly is, and that's me more so entertaining the idea. Secondly, the FBI, Secret Service, CIA is there at that point. So everybody was like, "Oh, well, he knew the Dallas Police Department." They gave him the nod. "Oh, it's old Jack, he's good." Well, the FBI, CIA, Secret Service is there. How far would that? No, we know him. It's our, we go to his bar and drink. Hey, let me do shit at Candace later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how far is that going to go? Shouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But he's allowed down there anyway. And And then again, y'all are going to have to give me more to go off of, because we can go off of the parade route was not, and y'all got to stop me if I get too nerdy is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, no, dig in.
So, and I don't know how to do this without writing it out for you, but
let's start with him. You've drawn.
That's what I'm trying to say.
You said the parade route was too complicated. You have drawn.
I didn't finish it. Hold on. Let me finish it.
You have drawn 2 lines at a right angle. One says Houston, one says Elm.
All right. Now it's complete.
Oh boy. Now there's a 3rd Street in the grid system of downtown. We don't want to confuse the listeners. There are 3 streets in play here.
All right. Well, Jimmy,
Like
maybe you can help me here.
Okay.
I wasn't as good at school as Jimmy was.
Not only a backup quarterback, also a smart man.
Some of us were natural born athletes. Some of us were smart in school, you know.
Some of us could kind of do both.
So the parade route, and it was in the newspaper, was supposed to be a vertical line, if you can work with me, vertical to the highway, okay? Going here.
You mean like parallel?
Parallel makes much more sense.
Yeah.
That's why I said. That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here, baby.
Now, it did not go parallel. So this is where I have a hard time explaining. So seriously.
Yeah, because then they turned going perpendicular to the highway.
I don't know how to word this without seeing it. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So the parade route did not go parallel. It went 1 street over from the book depository building. Therefore, if you are Lee Harvey Oswald or somebody with a gun in the book depository building on the 6th floor, you would not have a view of the presidential motorcade, JFK, to be able to shoot him. It took a right, which Secret Service standards, you should never take a 90-degree angle turn in the presidential motorcade. You should also never
That's a fact we're not going to check.
That's true.
It feels right.
I was hoping y'all did.
I feel like
everyone knows when the president's in a car, you take 3 lefts.
I mean, it makes sense. You know, it seems like it's opening yourself up to,
Potential attack.
assassination, if you will.
Hey,
They did it one time, and look what happened.
Didn't they? Isn't that how the Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated? Wasn't that also on a turn?
On
it was
a
like
right
a very
turn.
crazy story, but I think it was also on a
Yeah.
yeah.
We won't learn the lesson.
We will not look it up though, so this is on you.
As the listener.
If there is a parallel here, we're not going to find it. All right, so it's on you. This is the fun part of the podcast. Is like some of it. It's like have your own adventure. You know, you choose your own
it might be
adventure.
right.
Do you want to find out what if there were?
Yeah. Comment on
parallels?
YouTube.
There could have been.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Okay, so you're saying
can-
they turned right
I have no idea what he's talking about.
against the rule. You're saying they turned right against the rules of Secret Service, opening him up to attack, and he was attacked.
Well, I can play both sides. Since then, they've said that it was a mispublishing in the newspaper, but the newspaper published it was supposed to be a straight route onto the highway. Now they changed it, so then he was coming down as opposed to going here. He was coming down.
Perpendicular to the highway.
What is it with this city and parades? Between this and then 2006, when the Mavs went up 2-0 on the Heat and they announced the fucking parade, cursed the whole goddamn thing, and we lost. I mean, well, the Mavericks were cheated out of the championship very blatantly and obviously by the NBA. It was egregious, and I'm still mad about it. But anyway, parades.
Stuff about parades.
2 things. I don't know if I'd call this a parade first, but
It's kind of a parade. There's a guy driving by in a
parade.
car.
We'll go with this.
Parade.
I was gonna say
Parade-like activity.
It's in the genre of parade.
if you're gonna get shot in a parade, I think I'd do it through Arlington if you went to the Rangers World Series parade. Topical.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible parade. Somebody should have died.
I did
there.
not go to that.
Not JFK. Somebody should have died. So you have now the president takes a right turn in his motorcade, not supposed to come down this street. If I'm sitting where the shooter was supposedly in the 6th floor of the book depository building, now the motorcade's coming at me.
Yeah.
Typically, and again, this is all Secret Service procedure, you have the press bus in front of the motorcade.
Yeah.
They were told
Not on this day.
not on this day, they were last. That's why you have so little footage. That's why Zapruder was paid so much from Life magazine for the footage.
Why did that also take like 10 years to come out?
Because all right, again, it's in your hands to stop me. So JFK was about to sell Life magazine a story, not sell a story in the sense it was a fake, but he was about to apparently sell Life magazine a story about LBJ and his corruption and everything else, and then drop him from his candidacy as his vice president. And that was going to come out days later, and LBJ was aware. So
did that story ever come out or see the light of day?
No. And so that's what people ask is why would they still not come out with it?
Yeah.
And they think Robert Kennedy got in front of it because he knew, and it's hard not to bounce around. This is the hardest thing not to like, it's hard to keep in a straight line here, as was the...
Much like the parade.
Much like the parade. But Hoover was best friends with LBJ.
Okay.
They lived together in Washington, or lived next to each
Lyndon
other.
Big Dick Johnson.
Baby killer.
Baby killer?
Baby killer.
Well, that's less fun than Big Dick.
Well, after Vietnam, or during Vietnam, they called him baby killer, right?
But he he had a big dick, is my point.
LBJ. Big dick aside, how many kids did you kill today? That was the extended version of the chant.
Big dick aside.
Big dick notwithstanding.
How many kids you killed today?
It was less. It was more thorough, but less catchy than the other version. You know. He also had a shower nozzle installed in the White House shower that shot right at his dick. That's the other main thing I know about LBJ.
Well, wash that hog.
Yeah, it could have been shooting at something else. I mean, turn around, it makes more sense.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. Yeah. See, I never pry.
This is why we brought Clint on.
We're calling me the conspiracy theorist. What makes more sense here?
To ask the questions that are just sitting right out there that we should all be asking.
Is he washing his ass or his big old dick?
using his dick nozzle for his butthole?
Scott and I over here focus on big dicks. Clint being the butthole man. That's why we brought you on.
Gore Vidal, if you're watching, please. I think Gore Vidal is one of the. Is he still living? He's got to know a lot about LBJ.
Oh yeah.
Ken Burns, do you know about this?
Comment below.
I have to believe Ken Burns has never listened, or else he would have sent us a cease and desist early on when I kept using his name. Acting like he was signing off on the things we were talking about.
All right, so far, Jack Ruby was allowed to be down because of the cops. The parade route didn't follow the rules in blatant regard.
Blatant regard. All right, so the Secret Service, I keep going back to this, but the Secret Service protocol, you don't have a motorcade down. People will say, oh, well, Kennedy wanted the motorcade down. That's the point of the Secret Service is to say, well, no.
Yeah.
So, Secret Service protocol is that the bubble top stays on, and a presidential motorcade never goes below 44 miles per hour, or it takes right degree turns, like I said earlier.
Like
Do you
speed.
Speed.
I was like, are they just banking into turns or?
No, like the movie Speed. You know how you can't drop below 50, but
that's
it's 44.
That's the point of why the parade
or the president's head will explode.
Such a simple diagram gets so much more complicated, doesn't it, Jimmy?
Still, this diagram is 3 lines.
A lot more to think about. Wait till I make a fourth.
Oh, no.
So
it'll make a box.
You want to put the over-under on the speed of the motorcade when JFK was shot?
7.
I said
12.
The Secret Service procedure was 44. They couldn't get below 44.
Yeah, I think it's
you
going to be 10 or
with
12.
7 or 12.
He was casually sitting, waving. I'm assuming they're damn near idling, going
Good
slow.
job, fellas. Y'all must know your oddball history because it was 11.
Damn.
He was shot at 11.
I busted, technically.
11 miles per
Price
hour.
is Right rules.
Yeah,
Fucking
Price
winner.
is Right rules.
And then,
So he's a sitting duck.
Sitting duck. I guess my other big point is the Parkland Hospital. So he's rushed to the Parkland Hospital.
Yep. Great hospital to this day. Old Parkland
Jimmy
torn
likes it
down
because
now.
they have a Sonny. Is that the one that they have a Sonny Bryan's by that you like to take people to because you can get a barbecue sandwich?
Food poisoning in there.
You did?
Yeah, they gave me a gift card. all of us, like in unison, grabbed our car keys. Didn't speak, got in our cars, started calling each other.
Oh, shit.
And I remember thinking...
The quick trip down the street, everyone's in.
No, I'm weird.
That is.
My car keys and my apartment keys were not connected.
Okay.
and I didn't know if I grabbed my apartment keys as well. And if you've ever been in that situation where you got to go, I was like, I can't move this position. And I was like, I can't check to see if I have my apartment keys. I'm going to stick right here until I'm sprinting in my apartment.
Okay.
And I pray to God that my apartment keys are in there.
And did you shit your pants?
No. My apartment keys are in there. I called Sonny Bryan's. I know the guy's name.
Why did you call?
To get a free gift card.
I'm not even going to say my name. I'm not even going to say my name.
They don't care.
I want you to know I could say this man's name and he did care.
Okay.
He cared a lot more than LBJ cared about this community, okay? I'll say that much. And he offered me, he goes, so I go, I'm not going to give you my name. I want you to know something was wrong with the brisket last night, all right? We had about 6 of us, and it was bad. That's all I got to say. I'm not leaving you a bad review. I'm handling this man to man. And he goes, I'm sending you a gift card for being like this. And he did.
Hell yeah.
And I never used it.
Hell yeah.
So
because you'll shit your pants. So Sonny Bryan's by Parkland. You've heard it here. The Oddball History promise. If you feel like shitting your pants, go there.
Eating that JFK meat, but they wondered where his brain went.
So they take him to Parkland.
They weigh in his brain, meaning his brain matter was out of his head. So that famous picture, video after the Zapruder film of Jackie Kennedy climbing to the back to Secret Service agent Clinton Hill. She's not climbing to him. If you watch closely, she's scooping brain matter
off the car,
off the back of the hood to keep, thinking it would help. And once
did it? No, I'm fucking with you.
We're going to spoil this? Spoiler alert?
Spoiler, guys. It did not
we learned this in EMT school is brains out bad. Put brain back in.
Jam it all back in.
Just jam it all back in the hole.
That's part of the conspiracy, though. It really is. So they take him to Parkland, emergency room 1. Since been buried in a bunker. All the insides of the emergency room just gone. They buried him. They got rid of him in a very odd fashion.
Well, I know all the records from the original doctors were disregarded.
Gone. Nobody would listen to Parkland. Nobody would listen to anybody from Dallas.
They're like, they flew him to D.C. to what's that hospital called?
Walter Reed.
And
they flew him to Bethesda, Maryland. Now
Bethesda, Maryland. I knew that. I was testing Jimmy.
Illegally, but. You could be right because there's another conspiracy that an empty coffin was flown to Bethesda while JFK's body in another coffin was flown to D.C.
Now, what was the purpose of the shell game of the body?
Should I stay in chronological order or just keep questions?
Keep going, baby.
So, and I'm not saying I'm a huge believer of this part.
Yeah.
But the Parkland doctors... It's hard not to say it all at once. So they said they all treated him as that he was shot
from the front
in the throat, and that's not a bullet theory as much as that's a medical theory, medical practice that an entrance wound is smaller than an exit wound.
Yeah,
and so
in the story he's shot from the back by Oswald.
They put the trachea tube through the bullet hole because it was already there.
Yeah,
in Parkland. Trying to save him. Okay.
Intubating a patient, much like a cat. If it fits, it sits. Now, remember that, everyone in paramedic school right now.
Anyway.
Sorry, Clint.
I thought this was a comedy podcast.
We can It is, but you also sometimes learn how to intubate people. That's what makes us unique. Pick up some potentially dangerous first aid.
So
enough to be dangerous.
His brain was weighed in at Parkland. Every single doctor on record at Parkland said again it was an entrance wound in the throat. He was then flown to Bethesda, Maryland to do the autopsy.
Yeah.
That is illegal. If a murder happens in a state, the autopsy has to be done in that state.
Yeah.
So, and this is kind of back to my Jack Ruby thing, I don't completely make a point, but what I'm trying to say is the inconsistencies of what everything happened throughout these few days. The FBI, CIA, and Secret Service, they don't have The reason I say that is because they don't know who was talking to them. The doctors of Parkland didn't know who was speaking to them. It was uniformed officials with machine guns who said, we're taking his body, get out of our way, and got physical with the doctors saying, absolutely not. So that was kind of my point. If they were that much in charge, well, then how was Jack Ruby down there a day later if you're sticking your chest out now?
Yeah, of course.
You know? And so
well, I remember, what was like the gay mafia thing?
that's Clay Shaw. A lot of that's Oliver Stone's movie.
Back and to the left. Back
Yeah.
and to the left. Back and to the left. That's all I remember.
I promised myself not to watch that movie when you asked me to come on here, because then I'm just repeating it. But
So I would like to know what you think happened.
you won't let me finish one question. They're long-winded. You said get going. I'm getting going. All right. So they fly his body to Bethesda. All right. Now the Bethesda doctors won't talk to the Parkland doctors, and what the autopsy that went out to the public originally was from the Bethesda autopsy was they weren't told he was shot in the throat. They were told that was where the
Trachea tube.
went in. And so they didn't even treat it like that.
Yeah.
So the first autopsy that went out, and based on the Warren Commission and everything else, that's how they based it. And the Parkland doctors were calling them, and this isn't just a conspiracy by. First of all, I hate when they say like conspiracy theorists. This has been going on for over 60 years, and these people have spoken up. You can go and see their interviews, testimonials, or whatever else. It's been going on for over 6 years. The biggest murder mystery wouldn't be if there wasn't questions.
Yeah.
They have said that nobody would listen to them and say, "Hey, we put the trachea tube, breathing tube through the gun hole because we didn't want to make another hole." Mm-hmm. And the Bethesda hospital would not listen to them, so they didn't treat it. That's how the magic bullet theory came about, because they weren't treating it like it
wasn't a bullet hole.
An entrance. Also, the guy who did this in Bethesda was not a help me out, Jimmy. He was a natural cause autopsist.
Autopsier?
Here we go.
Autopsitician?
He was used to doing natural causes.
A coroner.
Not murders.
Yeah.
Okay. He was also gotten not in trouble because nobody got in trouble. He took the original written autopsy home with him. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't be done. Yes. And he burned it.
He got chili all over it. Oh, that's even worse.
I was going to joke on it and then was trying to clean it with fire.
I was going to joke
said it quick.
That he got chili.
Too much of what you said is that's what's
when he burned
when
it.
you look at it all, it is kind of funny. But his point was,
I got chili on that.
He was performing an autopsy. He didn't want record because it was bloody, is what he was saying. But it's like, at some point, it's like, oh, are we the conspiracy theorists, or are you answering for more questions than we are, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that is all. Like, I got blood on that piece of paper, so I burned it at my house.
It's like it's like having to take a urine test, and let me take this home with me. I feel much better about it. I promise.
I get nervous pees in public.
I'll be ready tomorrow.
I'll be back.
You know?
And by the way, just tape a condom full of piss to your leg. It's not that hard.
It's not hard. The Wizinator, they sell them.
Yeah.
Then the mortician, when he went to embalm JFK, he said, this guy, so he's not a doctor, right? But he said that the only time the embalming fluid oozes out of somebody's face the way it did with JFK was when there's glass cut all through his face. Meaning he was shot through the front windshield when he got hit.
Oh, shit.
Through the throat. Now, he got hit in the head. We can't argue that. That's what people don't understand. He got hit in the head.
Yeah.
But that is where you come with the theory that there's not one lone gunman.
Yeah, of course.
And that guy, none of these people had anything to gain, is what people don't understand, that came up and said this. And you can look all this up. The body should never have been flown there. Also, it was not a federal crime to kill the president in 1963.
I've heard that
Much
before.
like it was when they killed Lincoln, when Booth killed Lincoln, if he did.
Fuck. We forgot to put that on the
I knew we
Are
were
you telling me you didn't put that on the books when I said
Son
put it
of
on the
a
books?
bitch.
What?
After they killed Lincoln, it's like, you didn't tell them to put it on the books. Dude, it was on my to-do list. I didn't get around to it.
Y'all got me. I thought y'all were actually talking. I thought y'all had a guy that was there when Lincoln died or something. I knew we had another guest tonight.
Coming in the corpse of a guy.
I did one time in high school. They brought in a bunch of. There was like a guy who was touring around with a bunch of Lincoln artifacts, and one of the things he had was a piece of the bloody bandage from the night of his assassination. And it was cool as shit. I remember thinking like I would be way more dialed in at school if we got to look at more weird, bloody
Also,
old shit.
0% chance that was
Stuff
legit.
presidents bled on.
You went to
Oh
private
no,
school,
it
you
was
said?
yeah.
A Jesuit boy? A Liberty boy?
If it wasn't,
That was
if
a
it was
little
set
boy's
up
bloody
through the
rag,
school,
for sure.
if it was set up through the school, it was definitely my cool English teacher that did it for us. And there was a note. I remember he misspelled the word "remember."
It's on camera, baby.
We got that on camera.
We're gonna teach.
shot.
We're
Camera
gonna
shot.
teach Clint how to drink. He spilled whiskey on his nice JFK shirt. So I think one of the things I think about this is now that so much time has passed, is that there's all these holes in the story and weird stuff and happenstance and crazy people that have gotten involved and not crazy people that have gotten involved. But it's kind of like clear to me that like the government had some hand in his killing and cover up. Whether it be independent factions within it, a small group of people, a big group of people, like those are all details. But like he was doing enough crazy shit where he was like, you know, against full-on scale war with Vietnam. He wanted the FBI shut down, the CIA
one of the reasons. I
shut down.
think.
He wanted all these people like, oh, y'all got way too much power.
There were so many people who wanted to kill him who were
Yeah.
so much more powerful than Lee Harvey Oswald. Like
Yeah.
there were many entire governments as well as the mob and like everyone. Like it was a lot of people wanted to kill JFK.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like only natural to me like it's to look beyond Lee Harvey Oswald, you know, because he's just a little guy. He's just
I just
a little
see that.
fella
I just
with
see
his
that it says
communist newspaper.
I see that it says stripper here. I want to hear about that.
Well, yeah, I don't know how long y'all want to go. So
No, keep going.
Again, I came into this with the mindset I'll go too long. So
The stripper from Jack Ruby's story.
well, there's multiple strippers, but yes,
There's lots of strippers.
Lots of
This is
strippers.
Dallas history.
Yeah.
I've come to realize that when you're in politics and you don't have to share your location, you do a lot of things that a lot of men want
Yeah.
to do. A lot of Dallas police officers, not distinguished men
Not
like us.
decent.
Well, they had
These are Jimmy's words, of course.
Not
There was-
podcasters on a podcast.
there was an alleged story about a different fire department in a different universe parallel to ours where back in the day a guy was fixing up a boat he had in the parking lot of the fire station, and it had like a cabin below, and so he just had it parked there, and on his shifts he'd had a few spare hours, he'd go work on it and fix it up, and it became the butt hut, where if you brought a lady of the evening or a girl over, you'd go bang them in the boat cabin. What are you going to do all day, you know? The culture's changed now. But so one night these gentlemen had a couple pros over, and they spent some time in the butt hut. And then, as gentlemen public servants were to do, they requested a ride over the bridge back into downtown, and they politely declined, saying, we got to make calls and stuff, so start walking. Now, these ladies complained.
I heard the term lot lizard the other day.
But these ladies complained, and this hypothetical city came up with a new rule like 50 years ago. And their new rule after this incident was no more boats with sleeping compartments at fire stations. After this whole story, they went,
man.
I mean, you can't have, if you got a bed in the parking lot, what do you expect these fellas to do? Come on now.
A lot of boat covers were sold the next day.
Yeah.
It's a boat, guys. What are we supposed to do with it?
How are we not going to do that?
We play pirate on it, and we fuck in it, all right? It's a boat.
what boats are
That's what
for.
you're going to do.
All right, Clint, we're like at 50 minutes. Do you have like your top 2 points?
I guess my biggest thing that I feel like people focus on is more those moments of when he got killed. What I think is crazy, so I'll just speak quick, is you saw my notes about a stripper at Jack Ruby's place.
Yeah.
Who was picked up on the side of the road in Louisiana. And a guy had hit her. She was frantic, brought her into the police station, spoke to a sheriff, I believe. She was also, they thought she was withdrawing. Anyway, the sheriff put her in a cell, so let's let her dry up whatever is going on here. He went to a gala of some sort. Have you ever heard the term, like, when you're talking shit to somebody, like, oh, Jimmy, I've forgotten more about football than you know.
Than you've ever learned.
I actually feel this about.
Yeah.
So if you can meet me there, but so anyway,
what a polite way to be a dick.
No, I mean, not at all.
Listen, let me get to my point.
No, when I revisit this, not about you personally, I truly think I've forgotten at this point more. So when it comes to names and titles and stuff that's what I mean.
I got you.
But the guy, I believe the sheriff, he was called out of what I think was the Louisiana, whatever the local police department's gala was, and said, hey, she's withdrawing. And this woman's name was Rose Cherami. I'm assuming that's her stripper name because I've also found her as Melba Youngblood. If we're in the 60s.
Yeah, Melba Youngblood, less good stripper name.
Yeah, Melba Youngblood.
I would, yeah.
Makes me want a cracker.
Makes you want a cracker? Sounds like something an Australian man would yell at a young lady crossing the street. Like that's a cat call in Australia.
Melba
Youngblood.
She started to... He got called out of the gala, and they were like, hey, she's withdrawing bad. So,
and he's like, do you not know the night of the fucking gala is tonight?
He left. He went to her. He got a doctor there. They gave her something. As she started even out, she said, hey, I work for Jack Ruby. I was to pick up some drugs for him and bring them from Louisiana to Texas, whatever it was. And she goes, I was in the car with two men, and they spoke in front of me and said that they are to go to Dallas and make sure that Kennedy's assassinated. The president is assassinated. She didn't say Kennedy. And then they're headed to Galveston to receive a huge ship of heroin, acquire the heroin on a huge ship. And after,
I love the industriousness of not having one crime a weekend, where it's like, no, you kill the president, then you go down to Galveston, then you pick up the shipment of heroin.
Back when people weren't afraid to work.
Goddamn kids these days. I'm going to kill the president and take a fucking 3-week vacation.
Assassins, they would want to do the assassination as one job and then do the
one prison before
picking up the bales as another job.
Just not these young men. God bless them.
So that sheriff, she got put into a mental home. So that's where, again, I'm trying to give myself the benefit of the doubt if I'm mistaken whether it was a doctor in the mental home. He called. They saw JFK was killed, and so they called Coast Guard. They called authorities in Dallas. They said we don't want to hear from her. And sure enough, when he called Coast Guard or authorities in Galveston, they busted that ship full of heroin.
Yeah,
true story. And then there's the other one. I'm all over the place. You told me to wrap it up. Madeline Brown, another mistress of LBJ's.
I like a mischievous mistress.
That's a hot name too.
A mistress.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, Madeline Brown sounds like a bachelorette.
She does.
The newest bachelorette, Madeline Brown.
Brown's
tomorrow on Good Morning America.
A pretty blonde from Nebraska and just won over hearts of America.
That's right.
Turned to brunette.
She wears jeans and tall boots, oversized flannels.
Ooh,
you run this
sips coffee cups with two hands.
You got the picture, guys.
She claimed there was a party the night before JFK's assassination. Mm-hmm. Hoover, Nixon, everybody was there. And she had claimed that they had all said that tomorrow will be Kennedy's last day on Earth. Kennedy made fun of me for the last time, and Robert Kennedy's next.
And he was next.
To kill a dragon, you cut off the tail on the head, which metaphorically would mean...
Never heard that. I always thought it was just you cut the head off a snake. But to kill
I
a
think
dragon,
it's that you cut off the tail first, but then that's a whole nother line. I'm trying to be quick, and then you ask another question.
I'll be honest with you. I would have no idea how to kill a dragon.
that was I have based off of the films, I have a pretty good idea of how to train one,
Yeah.
but very little.
Oh. I avoided watching Oliver Stone's film. I avoided watching Oliver Stone's film.
That joke got Heisman stiff arm back into me.
I didn't want to be too fictional by watching Oliver Stone's film.
Okay.
And you didn't want to be too fictional by watching How to Train a Dragon. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, we're on the same
working
page
here. Well,
So all these very influential people are obviously in the know that
oil
he is
money,
gonna die.
mafia, all of them said it, and then you had obviously none of the people like Hoover, anybody else would admit to it, but the seamstress, the mistress, it was a lot of people like that. Multiple witnesses have said it. They all have died, not all of them, but again, if we had more time, y'all can have me back if you want.
I thought you were going to say if we had more time, they will die. They are going to die.
Give it a couple years.
Before the end of
This
the
didn't happen.
podcast.
These
but
were adults,
guarantee
and it
they
was
died.
60 years ago.
No,
They're all 85 now.
crazy causes. Down
Yeah,
his
it's
driver that
wild.
day. Multiple things.
Yeah, insanely fun to read. Like, it really is like there's no end to the shit you can get into. Reading
It's
about.
like have you heard about the DB Cooper vortex?
I have not. I have a theory about DB Cooper, though.
But they say it's a vortex, meaning you never want it to be over.
Oh, yeah. All right.
It's a
I'm
vortex.
into that.
So you don't get into it wanting to find the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want
You gotta do
somebody.
it because it's fun fucking around with it.
Yeah.
And now this
yeah.
isn't the same because you want the answer, but it's kind of the same in the sense
I
that
feel like everyone has gotten to
it's getting there.
All the conspiracies point to like, yeah, the government and powerful, influential people had a hand in it, but we're never going to get the definitive, here's a piece of paper that says who did it, why, the 10 top people involved. Maybe.
Well, I'll give you mine to end.
Okay.
Since y'all go about this long.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't think Lee Harvey Oswald shot a gun that day. I've been
At
to
all?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had. He was not the lone shooter, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if he did shoot and he didn't know somebody else was shooting.
Yep.
He had a busted scope.
They had like multiple people in different spots, all thinking they were the lone gunman.
He was supposed to.
All going.
He didn't
Nailed
take
it.
there were people on that floor on their lunch break.
Just blown up on all sides.
He took the stairs down 6 floors and
Yeah.
passed by multiple people who claimed they passed nobody.
Yeah.
So if he wasn't, he may have thought he was going to do so,
Yeah.
but he didn't in there. So if you get blamed for doing this when you got arrested, he said,
Yeah.
I'm a patsy. If you get arrested for murder, is the first thing you say, I'm a patsy? Or is it, I didn't do it?
Okay. Yeah. 19. I'm thinking, old timey.
I don't like that.
I'm a
though.
patsy.
I don't like that.
I do see
I
what you're
hate
saying.
the,
I do see
well,
what you're like. I didn't do it. Not like they're framing me.
That's kind of like,
A conglomerate of oil companies is framing me. That's a little specific.
it's kind of like saying he wasn't racist. Those were different times.
Yeah, there we go.
No, he was racist, and there were different times he wasn't racist. But yeah, I think there were multiple shooters. I think the CIA and LBJ were behind it. I think it was there in front of us. I think that they tried to do it in Miami. It was on record. I think they tried to do it in Chicago when he was on his campaign tour, and it ended up happening in Dallas.
So you hear that? Either one of your cities could be mired in shame. All right,
Yeah.
Miami and
Miami.
Chicago, stop looking down your goddamn noses at us. And while we're at it, Heat, I still have not forgiven you for the 2006 NBA Finals.
If there are any comedians in Miami or Chicago that are funny with the podcast, I'm glad to be on.
Okay, here we go. Shots fired. Easy. Much like that fateful day by multiple people from multiple angles.
Real crime was committed tonight.
Ladies
right.
and gentlemen,
Yeah.
Oddball history.
Wait,
hit
I have
me.
one shout out
yeah.
I wanted to do.
Yes, please.
Today, a fella died by the name of Fritz Peterson. His connection to our podcast is he was the starting pitcher for the Indians on 10-cent beer night.
Oh, there we go.
Our man Tom Grieve took him yard, but he just passed. But Fritz Peterson, I didn't make the connection when we were doing 10-cent beer night. Fritz Peterson is the man who swapped wives with his teammate Mike Kekich in 1973. They fell in love with each other's wives.
Getting
swapped, literally like sent their kids to the other one's house to live. And then like one of the couples broke up like a year after.
Yeah.
One of the couples, I believe it was Fritz Peterson and Mike Kekich's original wife. They lived happily ever after.
What an adorable story.
Yeah. Shout out Fritz Peterson.
Sometimes you find love when you're not looking for it, you know?
Yep. That's right.
I guess I'll correct him on that conspiracy later.
Do you have an opinion? You looked like you knew something.
I do.
Well, hit me.
They lived together, all four of them.
Like a commune thing?
Oh,
They
yeah.
swapped
Very
divorce.
70s.
He died, and she supposedly at his funeral. You weren't wrong.
Which
I
one?
was just being trying to be,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
trying to be funny.
I feel you.
But the other one's single too.
Yeah.
So the wife and the husband
So
and their wife
yeah.
are now alone and single.
Now
Yeah.
she's back with Kekich.
Hell yeah.
That's what I like to believe.
What she deserves.
Yeah. That Mike Kekich was a good... I mean, I don't know anything about him at all, but he was probably a good man.
He was a one-time Ranger.
Anyone who could... there
I'm
you go.
sorry, you got me going. Baseball and JFK, geez. They both got traded because this was back in the day when nobody liked them. Or, I'm sorry, nobody liked them.
Oh, yeah.
In the sense that they're swingers, nobody liked them. So they both traded them to the Indians after they had a falling out with the whole foursome thing, and they both ended up on the same team a year later.
That is hilarious.
That is good.
That's so funny. Which I guess just leaves us with one more question, and that is, Clint, can I have that Sonny Bryan's gift card?
Absolutely. It's yours.
We got ourselves an answer, guys. Until next time, Oddball History.